الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه. اللهم ربنا زدنا علما. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وزدنا حكمة والحمد لله على كل حال. اللهم نور قلوبنا بنور القرآن وزين أخلاقنا بنور القرآن وأدخلنا الجنة بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Tuhfat Al-Atfal. Alhamdulillah, last week we began this course and we went through the rules of Nun Sakina and Tanween, the three rules of Mim Sakina, the rule of Nun and Mim Mushaddadatain. Inshallah, moving on today, we will discuss the ruling of Yam of I and the Yam of Awab. Before we continue, I think it's necessary to remind ourselves, yourself and myself, our purpose of coming together to learn the Quran. We have to know the objective of any science. There has to be a purpose behind an action. We are learning the Quran to rectify our mistakes and to please Allah Jalla wa Ala. The ulama have mentioned that if a person doesn't know the objective, a person doesn't know the Gaya, there's three types of defects. Three types of defects if a person doesn't have an objective or an end goal. The first is abath nafsi. Abath nafsi, and this is a total loss. It's that type of failure where one receives no benefit whatsoever. A person does not receive any benefit at all. For example, you've gotten to a train from London to come to Sheffield to study Tajweed in this beautiful masjid. So you get onto the train and then you get off. When you get off the train, so you're supposed to come from London to Sheffield. But as opposed to coming to Sheffield, when you get off the train, you see the sign and it says, "Welcome to Bristol." So you've totally gone the wrong way. You're in the wrong place. You shouldn't have been there. It's a waste of time, waste of money, waste of effort, and you have to go back to the starting point and start all over again. And this is due to neglect, lack of planning. So this is a situation where a person is in total loss because that person didn't strategically think out the objectives of that particular action. That is abas nafsi. That's the first type. If a person doesn't have an objective, the second type is abath akali. That you've come onto this course, you've enrolled onto this course for a purpose to study tajweed, but instead of following the video, you start to read about something else. You start to read about, let's say, the Day of Judgment. So you go into Google, you start reading about the Day of Judgment, or you find an online PDF, a particular book, you start reading that. So instead of studying tajweed, you're reading something else. So you've gained some benefit, but you're still in loss because you enrolled onto this course to study tajweed. But rather than following the video and the lesson that we're going through, you're doing something else. So you gain some benefit, but you're still in loss. That's the second type. The third type of defect is abas urfi. And this is a social failure. And we really need to pay attention to this. So this is where you've achieved everything you set out for. You enrolled onto this course to study tajweed, you've studied the ahkam, you've studied the entire nazm of Tuhfat Al-Atfal from beginning to end. How is that a defect? So, you've done everything you need to do, but it's still a defect. Okay, you spent all these hours, with myself studying this beautiful poem. In the end, at the end of the 3 weeks, you pass the exam, you receive the ijazah in this beautiful text of Fatul Atfal. After receiving this ijazah, Now you no longer open the Quran every day. You don't recite the Quran, and neither do you teach Tuhfat al-Atfal. You don't practice and implement what you have learned. And this person is a social failure. So he's completed the studies, he's completed the text. But because that person did not do anything with that knowledge, such a person is in ultimate loss. So our niyyah is important. Our niyyah is the ghaya, it's the objective, it's the end goal. So our niyyah is to please Allah. Our niyyah is that we rectify our mistakes. Our niyyah intention is that once we have completed this text, inshallah, we will maintain a lifelong connection with the Quran. We will open the Quran every single day, even if it means that we only recite 3 lines. Make it brief, make it achievable. May Allah Kareem give us tawfiq. Ameen, summa ameen. Okay, coming back to our lesson, inshallah, today we will go through hukum of yam of al and the yam of fi'l. The ruling of the yam of al and the yam of a fi'l, of a verb. Throughout the previous rulings, the ahkam that we have done, I always mentioned, I went through Sheikh Suleiman al-Jamzuri's poem and his text first. But I would like to give you some introductory points before we go on to the Nazm, inshallah. So the yam of al, which appears only on nouns, has 2 types. The yam of al, which appears only on nouns, has 2 types. The first is ayyamul qamariyah. Qamar literally means the moon. So the moon letters. Ayyamul qamariyah is the yam which precedes the following letters known as the qamariyah letters. And these are those letters. To make these easy, Sheikh Suleiman al-Jamzuri will give us a code very shortly, inshallah. They have been arranged into the following key. This is that code. Sheikh Suleiman says, Ibghi hajjaka wa khaf aqimahu. These are those Qamariya letters. These are the moon letters. And for us to remember, to make it easy for us to remember, Sheikh Suleiman has given us a key, he's given us a code, he's combined the letters in this, he's given us nasiha as well. And I told you throughout this poem, Sheikh Suleiman, he's going to keep persistently giving us nasiha, giving us counsel. He's going to remind us, don't just read the ahkam of tajweed, but become good Muslims, become good people, become those who adopt the prophetic character, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So he has arranged the Qamariya letters in this key, Ibghi hajjaka wa khaf hakimahu. And the translation of this key is, Ibghi hajjaka, perform your hajj. Ibghi, perform, carry out, fulfill. Hajjaka, your hajj. Perform your hajj. Wa khaf. Khaf is a command and is telling you to be scared, be afraid, be fearful. Khafa, yakhafu. Khafa yakhafu means to fear. He says, وَخَفْ أَقِيمَهُ, and fear your hajj becoming fruitless. Fear it becoming wasted. Fear that your hajj will not be accepted in the court of Allah Almighty. I.e., try not to make it void from blessings. So, these are your letters, the Hamza, Ba, Ghain, Ha, Jim, Kaf, etc. These letters are your Qamariya letters. Okay. So what is the ruling of the Qamariya letters? Ayyamul Qamariya, the moon letters, is always written and pronounced clearly, i.e., the yam is pronounced with izhar, and the letter following the yam does not have a shadda. So the yam is pronounced with izhar. You will pronounce it very clearly. You will not do idgham. You will not merge. You remember, izhar, I told you, means to pronounce something short, sharp, and clear. So you pronounce the yam with clearly, doing izhar, and the yatta following the yam does not have shadda. It won't have a small W above the yatta like this jim has. Hajja. Okay, moving on to the next slide. Okay, now we'll come to the nazm. We'll come to the poem. Sheikh Salman al-Jamzuri, he writes, Hukmu yami al, the ruling of the yam of al, wa yam al-fi'l, and the yam of the verb. So, Sheikh Salman al-Jamzuri, he says, the ruling of the yam of al and the yam of the verb, yami al-hayani qabla al-ahrufi, وياهما إظهارها فلتعرفي قد يربع مع عشرة خذ علمه من ابغي حجك وخف قيمه. Okay, Sheikh Sulaiman, he says here, Yiyami ay hayani. He says for the yam of al Yiyami, for the yam of al hayani. Hal means state, hayan two states. For the yam of al there are two states. قبل الأحرف, when it comes before قبل, before al-ahrufi, the letters of the alphabet. It has two states. So he told us in this sentence that the yam al has two states when it comes before the alphabet. Uyahuma, the first of the two states, is izharuha, is that you do izhar, you make it clear. Falta'rifi, he says, so recognize this, know this, no, don't forget this. Because if you forget this, you will fall into making mistakes. Then he says, قَبْلَ يَرْبَعِ مَعَشْرَةٍ. He says, when it comes before 4 with 10, meaning 14. When it comes before arba, 4, ma with ashratin, 10. Take this knowledge. No, remember this, hold on to this. Which 14 letters are they? Minibki hajjaka wa khaf qaqimahu. They are all the 14 letters combined in this key. And he has told us that do Hajj. You know, if Allah has given you sufficient money and Hajj is fard upon you, then carry out your Hajj. Don't delay it. And he says, once you've done your Hajj, you know, you've spent those thousands of pounds, you've traveled thousands of miles, you've tired yourself out, you've performed your Hajj, and now you're back in your country, you're back in your homeland, and now don't go around saying to everybody, I've done my Hajj, call me Hajj Sab. And he says, don't do this. You know, fear, you remain in a state of fear where you are in a state where you are hopeful that Allah will accept it, but you do not want to boast because you know that you've tried your best, but maybe there was some mistakes or some deficiencies in that Hajj. So he says, don't become boastful, don't become where you show conceit and pride. Okay, 14 states for 14 letters of the moon, of the 14 moon letters, the Qamariya letters. How do you recite these? Okay. Huwal awwalu huwal akhiru. Huwal awwalu huwal akhiru. You see, there's a yam here before the yata hamza. The hamza does not have a shad as it will in the Shamsiyya letters, and the yam does and the yam is you do izhar with the yam. So you say huwal awwal. Likewise, huwal akhir. Al khaliqul bari. Al khaliqul bari. Bil ghaibi. Bil ghaibi. Alhamdu. وزوجك الجنة كالجنة. والكاظمين والكاظمين بالوالدين هم الخاسرون إلا الفاسقين رب العالمين بالعالمين ما القارعة باليوم الصراط المستقيم الصراط المستقيم بالهدى. You see in all of these examples, we are doing izhar of the yam. We are reciting it short, sharp, and clear. Umul, umul, iyay, yay. And these are your 14 Qamariya letters. Inshallah. Very easy. And hope it makes sense to you, inshallah. So that was the first type. Shaykh Sulaiman al-Jamzuri rahimahumullah told us there are two types, there are two states of the al. The first is Qamariya, it's the moon letters. And then we have the Ayyamu Shamsiyya. We have the sun letters. Shams means sun in the Arabic language. Ayyamu Shamsiyya is Ayyam which precedes the following 14 letters known as the Shamsiyya letters. Ta, Tha, Dal, Dhal, Ra, Za, Sin, Shin, Sad, Dad, Ta, Dha, Lam, and Nun. These are the 14 Shamsiyya letters. What were the Qamariya letters? Ibgi Hajjaka wa Khaf Akimahu. Okay. How are we going to remember these 14 letters? Shaykh Sulaiman al-Jamzuri says, look, you might be thinking, I'm giving you all these letters and you're thinking, how am I going to remember this? He says, don't worry. I'll put them in a couplet for you once again. He says, they have been arranged as the first letter of each word in the following couplet. طب ثم صل رحما تفض صف ذا نعم دع سوء ظن زر شريفا للكرم. Okay. Shaykh Sulaiman al-Jamzuri, he has given us the nasiha once again, and he has told us the 14 Shamsiyya letters in the beginning of each word. So, Ta, Tha, Sad, Ra, Ta, Iya, Akhir. Ruling. What is the ruling of Shamsiyya letters? So, the Qamariya letters, the Ibgi Hajjat al Hakimahu, the ruling was that we do izhar. We do izhar of them. We pronounce them clearly. We don't do idgham. So what do we do in the Shamsiyya letters? Ayyam al-Shamsiyya is written, but it's not pronounced. So what do we do with it? It's there in the Quran, it's not pronounced. So how do we recite this? We will come to that inshallah. And the letter after it is made mushaddada. Remember, your shad is the small W, like this meme has here. This is known as a shad. Thumma. So, and the letter after is made mushaddada. So it has a shad. The yam is merged into the letter after it. This is known as idgham. So yam al-Shamsiyya is written, but it's not pronounced. And the letter after it is made mushaddada, i.e. the yam is merged into the letter after it. This is known as idgham. Yes, I will look at some examples. Prior to the examples, we'll go through the poem. Shaykh Sulaiman al-Jamzuri says, so he told us there's two states of the yam. The first is that we do idgham and we do izhar. Sorry, the first is they are the Qamariya letters. The first is the Qamariya letters, the moon letters. And what do? We do is izhar. We make them short, sharp, and clear. The second of the two states, ثانيهما إدغامها في أربع وعشرة أيضا ورمزها فعي. Allah. Says ثانيهما. Thani, the second, hima of the two. The second of the two states is what? Idghamuha. Is idgham. The second of the two states is idgham fi arba'i wa ashratin. in 4 after 10, meaning in 14. So the second state is idgham in 14 letters, aidan also. So 14 letters qamariya, 14 letters shamsiya. وَرَمْزُهَا فَإِ. وَرَمْز means key, Ramz means key, ha. Its key is in the following couplet. Fa'i. Fa, so, I, memorize. Wa'a, ya'i means to learn or to memorize. Fa'i, to memorize. So he's telling you, learn this. Don't forget this. What is the key? طب ثم صر رحما تفض صف ذا نعم. He says, طب ثم, be good. طب literally means be fragrant. Wherever you go, spread your love, spread your good character. You know, leave your spark wherever you go. And yet people remember you for having noble traits, good qualities. And leave them with words, kind words, and good actions. Still Rahman, he says, Tib Summa, be good, and Sil Rahman, connect family ties and joint family ties. He says, honor your siblings, honor your parents. Sheikh Salman is reminding you that if you're a husband and you've just got married, don't forget that you're also a son, you're also a brother. He's reminding you that everyone has their own due rights, and make sure you fulfill those rights. And he says, if you do this, tafuz, you will be successful. So if you enjoy family ties and you be good, tafuz, you will be successful. Faza yafuzu, to be successful. Sif dha ni'am, be hospitable to the one who has bounties. Allah Kareem. So the one who exemplifies goodness, be hospitable to such a person. Allah, Allah, Allah. Hospitality, I remember hearing that the men of Allah, when they would visit somebody's house, and if they were in a state of fasting, so they had a nafil fast, and it's an optional fast, and they went to somebody's house, that person ate out some food before them. What they would do is they would break their fast and accept the food, and then make up for the fast afterwards. Why did they do that? Because they said, for breaking a fast, there is a kafara. For breaking a fast, you are able to make that up. But there's no making up for breaking somebody's heart. No. The guest has laid out some food, they would take from that guest, they would eat from that, and they would break the fast. This is the level of, God consciousness that they had. And, maybe we can take some inspiration from this also. Sheikh Salman Al-Jamzuri, rahimahumullah, is reminding us. Then he says, Su'a dhannin. That means leave, let go of. Su'a dhannin. Su means bad, dhannin, opinion. Leave bad thoughts, leave bad opinions. Don't think bad of people, think good of them. As the ulama mentioned, that if you see something bad in somebody, then make 1,000 excuses for that person. And if you can't think of an excuse, then think to yourself, there is some reason, but it's not coming to my mind. So Allah knows best. Look how beautifully Shaykh Sulaiman al-Jamduri is counseling us and he's teaching us tajweed. Allah Kareem. May Allah shower his resting abode with countless blessings. Then he says, Zur sharifan lil karam. Zur, zara yazuru, to visit. He says, visit. Go and see those people. Which people? Sharifan. Those people who are noble. Noble, lil karam, for kindness, for virtue, for generosity. Visit those people. Ya Allah, Ya Allah. We're living in a time where we cannot visit anybody due to COVID-19. May Allah Kareem, through the barakah of the Quran, alleviate COVID-19 from us. Ameen. So Shaykh Salman al-Jamzuri, in these two lines, he's taught us that the second of the two states of al is that you do idgham, you merge in these 14 letters. the beginning letters of each word in this couplet. Examples. Okay, look. Here in the first example, you see a lam followed by a ta. How do you know it's a Shamsiya letter? And how do you know if it's a Qamariya letter? Look, the fact that it has a shad, it has a small w, tells you that you have to merge the letter before, which is the waw, into the ta. So that even though the yam is written, you will not pronounce the yam. So how do you recite this? What tariki? What tariki? Tariki. Okay, again, second example. You see a yam. This yam is followed by a shamsiya letter. How do you know it has a shad? So what do? You merge the letter before into the tha, and you do not pronounce the yam. من الثمرات من الثمرات اهدنا الصراط اهدنا الصراط. Same again. You see a shad after yam. What do? You merge the letter before into the sad. The yam will not be pronounced. You do the gum of the yam into the following letter. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Hirrah. Hirrah. You see there's a yam there, but it's not pronounced. Same with nirrahim. Next example. ولا الضالين ولا الضالين. عليهم الذلة عليهم الذلة. You see a lam, there's a dhal after it, with the shamsiya letter, you merge the lam into the dhal. Okay, next. والنازعات مالك يوم الدين هم السفهاء هم السفهاء من الظالمين من الظالمين وآتوا الزكاة وآتوا الزكاة هذه الشجرة هذه الشجرة الشجر الشجر هو اللطيف هو اللطيف. And they are your Shamsiya letters. Bakari. Sheikh Suleiman Al-Jamzuri rahimahumullah, he now tells you the name of both types of yam. Two states. He says, وَيَامُ الْأُولَى سَمِّيهَا قَمَرِيَّةً وَيَامَ الْأُخْرَى سَمِّيهَا شَمْسِيَّةً. وَيَامُ الْأُولَى, the first yam, سَمِّيهَا, call it قَمَرِيَّة, call it قَمَرِيَّة. That's where you do izhar of the yam. You pronounce it. وَالْيَامَ الْأُخْرَى سَمِّيهَا شَمْسِيَّةً. And the other yam, the second yam, call it shamsiyya. Okay. So the reason why I decided to teach you the yam first and then go through the poem at the beginning was because the way Sheikh Sulaiman has arranged the couplets, it might have got a bit confusing because he's told us the name afterwards. First, he's told us the letters and he's told us the name afterwards. So now you know that the Qamariya letters, Ibgi Hajjaka wa Khakimahu, they are Qamariya, and the Tib Summa, etc., they are the Shamsiya letters. So that's your Yamul Qamariya, Yamul Shamsiya, which are complete. Okay, now we come to the Yam of Fi'l, the Yam of a verb. So the Yam of Qamar, the moon, the Yam of Qamariya and Shamsiya appear on nouns. They appear on Isma. The Yam of the Fi'l, the Yam also appears in the verb. So Sheikh Sulaiman says here, وأظهرن يا ما فعل مطلقا في نحو قلنا عم وقلنا والتقى. He says وأظهرن يا ما فعل مطلقا. He says make sure you do إظهار وأظهرن. Make sure. There's a noon تأكيد here for emphasis. وأظهرن. Make sure. Don't miss this. That the yam of the verb, you do izhar of it. مطلقة. In every situation, without exception. في نحوي. في in نحوي. The example. قل. قل. قل نعم. قل نعم. This is an example. He's giving an example. So what do? You do idgham of the yam. قل نعم. وقلنا. قل نعم. وقلنا. والتقى. والتقى. So make the yam very clear when it comes in a verb. Like in these three examples. قل نعم وقلنا والتقى. Okay. Yam al-fi'l. This is a yam which is inside a verb and is known as yam al-fi'l. Yam of the verb. What is the ruling? This yam must always be pronounced. Izhar must be observed and idgham is not permissible. For example, التقى التقى قلنا قلنا قل نعم قل نعم أمهلهم أمهلهم يلعبون يلعبون وتوكل على الله وتوكل كي على الله. See, I'm doing izhar of the yam on the fi'l, and that is the yam of fi'l. There's one exception. If the yam or fi'l precedes another yam or a ra, then idgham is necessary. If the yam on a verb appears before another yam or ra, then you will do idgham. Like here you have a fi'l amr, qul, and the following letter is a yam. What do? You do idgham. قل يا أملك. Likewise, you have a ra after a yam, you do idgham. You merge the yam into the ra. وَقُرْ رَبِّي وَقُرْ رَبِّي. Next, you have a yam again. So how do you pronounce this? وَيَجْعَلْ يَكُمْ وَيَجْعَلْ يَكُمْ أَيَّكُمْ. That is the ruling of your yam. Okay. Yamul Amr. Yamul Amr. You see in the Arabic language, you have different types of yam. So that was the yam of the fi'l. And this is also a yam of the fi'l, but when it comes on the imperative, on a command. Yamul Amr. This is the yam which comes at the start of the imperfect tense, fi'l mudari. If you don't know Arabic, don't worry about this too much, about understanding this. If you don't know Arabic grammar, but try to just at least be aware of this. It's good to be aware. This is the yam which comes at the start of the imperfect tense, fi'l mudari, and is normally maqsoor. It has a qasra, it has a zir, i.e. ya'mal. So the yam at the beginning of the verb ya'mal is known as the yam al-amr. However, if it is preceded by one of the following, then it will become sakina. So if the yam of amr, this is the yam of amr, a waw, a fa, or thumma appears before it. Any of these conjunctions. So any of these conjunctions, if they appear before the fi'l, before the verb, then what will you do? The ruling is izhar is always observed with the yam al-amr. So you will say وَلْيَطَّوَّفُوا 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 بِالْبَيْتِ الْعَتِيقِ فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا. See here you have a yam of amr. you have a fa before it, so you will merge, so you do izhar of the lam al-amr. فَيَعْمَلْ فَيَعْمَلْ. Read it clearly, short up clearly. You have summa before the ya, amr, so you do izhar of the ya. ثُمَّ يَقْطَعْ ثُمَّ يَقْطَعْ ثُمَّ يَقْطَعْ. That is your ruling of the, these are your rulings of the ya, which are complete. So inshallah, tomorrow go over this sabak. If you don't understand this, if you don't understand anything, do message, do let me know. Inshallah, I'm happy to explain again. WhatsApp me. Today's been a short lesson, very easy, not too hard. Tomorrow, inshallah, just giving you a heads up. It won't be difficult. We'll study Mithyain, Mutaqaribain, Mutajanissain, the types of idgham. It won't be difficult, but make sure you've had a good night's sleep today. Make sure you're paying attention tomorrow and you're fully focused, inshallah. So we will continue tomorrow, inshallah. And let us remind ourselves, Quran is everything. Let us remind ourselves that Quran is everything. You know, as long as we attach ourselves to Quran, as long as we have Quran, then inshallah, Allah Kareem will accept us and admit us into Jannatul Firdaus. You know, Quran is the greatest company. In fact, at times the Quran will amaze you. A brother rung me from our masjid here, one of the attendees. He rung me on Friday after Jummah. And he said to me, Imam Sahab, I need to tell you something amazing. He says, you know how the yards talk on the streets? He said, something sick happened. And for those of you from other countries, the term sick is used as an expression to say something is awesome or amazing. So he said to me, something sick happened. I said to him, what happened? He said to me, you told me to memorize some Quran. So, I decided to memorize some short surahs. And I learned Suratun Nasr. He said, I memorized Suratun Nasr on Thursday night. And he said to me, the amazing thing was, I came to Jummah, and in the second rakat of Jummah, you recited Surah Nasr as well. You recited Surah Nasr. He said, I was so amazed. I was thinking, look at that. I memorized the surah, and Allah made you recite it in Jummah. And then he said to me, and it's not just that. He said to me 2 weeks ago, I memorized Surah Asr, or Asr. In that particular Jummah, I was talking about time, so I recited the surah in the Salah. And he says to me, I memorized the surah, and when I came Jummah, you recited that same surah. So I said to him, Allah Almighty is showing you that your Quran is being heard. So continue striving with Quran and continue working hard with Quran. And let us not take the Quran lightly. It's mentioned in Bukhari Sharif that Sayyidah Aisha, Ummul Mu'mineen, Sayyidah Aisha Siddiqa, inshallah we'll conclude on this. Sayyidah Aisha Siddiqa, beautiful narration. Sayyidah Aisha Siddiqa radiyallahu ta'ala anha said that, Allahu Akbar, she says that I saw that even on a cold, very cold day, when the revelation was descending upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, I saw that his blessed forehead was dripping with perspiration, was dripping with sweat. Allah Kareem. This is the power of Quran. So, Quran is shifa. Quran will allow us to keep going through these difficult times. It will allow us to get through these financial difficulties and to get through COVID-19. Allah make us amongst the Ahlul Quran. Inshallah, I will see you again tomorrow at 1:15 GMT time. Allah bless you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.